The annual WWF King of the Ring tournament, the second on pay-per-view television, takes place from the historic Baltimore Arena in June 1994. In addition to the final 3 rounds of the tournament, the principal conflicts coming into the event surrounded the WWF Championships. WWF Champion, Hitman Bret Hart puts his title on the line against the newly crowned Intercontinental Champion, Big Daddy Cool, Diesel. In the corner of Diesel is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, who was instrumental in his title win over Razor Ramon, while the Anvil Jim Neidhart, the Hitman's former tag partner, accompanies him to neutralize Michaels. The former champion, Yokozuna, joins Mr. Fuji's new stable member, Crush, to challenge the Head Shrinkers for the Tag Team Championships. At WrestleMania 10, Jerry the King Lawler made several disparaging remarks toward Roddy Piper, who served as special guest referee in the main event. Lawler continued mocking Piper on his King's Court segment, where he forced a Roddy Piper impersonator to kiss his feet, leading to a singles showdown at this event. Meanwhile, 2 favorites to win the King of the Ring tournament, Razor Ramon, looking to rebound from losing the Intercontinental Championship, and Owen Hart, riding the wave of momentum stemming from the victory over his brother, the WWF Champion Bret Hart, at WrestleMania. Opening the event with a quarterfinal matchup in the King of the Ring tournament, it's Razor Ramon for the second year in a row versus a finalist from the previous year, Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam takes control of the match early on with shoulder blocks and headbutts, but he fails to connect with the flying headbutt. Razor then avoids some offense and crotches Bigelow on the post before executing a diving bulldog. Bam Bam responds by sidestepping Razor and tossing him over the ropes. Next, he attacks Ramon's back and places him in a torture rack. Razor does not submit, so Bam Bam lets him go only for Razor to deliver a back suplex. However, Bigelow prevents another one from the top rope and tries a moonsault, but Razor halts him and slams him into the ring to win. The next quarterfinal matchup is between Men on a Mission's Mabel vs. IRS. IRS overlooks a corner charge, and Mabel crashes him into the turnbuckles. Mabel then performs an energetic dance while maintaining control of the match with slams, a suplex, and an elbow drop. IRS retaliates by sending Mabel to the outside with a knee to the back and then delivers the right-off, jumping clothesline. He only secures a 2 count, and Mabel catches him off guard with a slow roll-up, but it fails. Afterwards, IRS slows down the pace with a prolonged chin lock until Mabel pushes him into the corner. Mabel appears noticeably exhausted, but he executes a backdrop and nearly messes up a sidewalk slam. He does succeed in ascending the turnbuckles, but IRS shakes him off and makes a careless cover for the victory. Owen Hart vs. Tatanka is the third quarterfinal matchup. Tatanka unexpectedly attacks Owen early on. He throws Owen around the ring until Owen pokes him in the eyes. However, Tatanka responds with a hip toss and an arm drag. The brawl then moves outside the ring, where Owen crashes Tatanka into the post. Next, Owen executes a gut-wrench suplex followed by a missile dropkick. Tatanka eventually recovers from Owen's offense and performs a war dance. He delivers a DDT and a running power slam to Owen, but neither move results in a victory. Then, Tatanka attempts a sunset flip, but Owen counters by sitting on him for the win. In the final match of the quarterfinal round, the 1-2-3 Kid takes on Jeff Jarrett. The Kid intimidates Jarrett with kicks, but he strikes at the leg. Jarrett hurls the Kid forcefully into the corner and counters a roll-up before resuming the onslaught. Nevertheless, Jarrett misses a dropkick, and the Kid tries a victory roll. Jarrett counters with a slingshot suplex and a somewhat unimpressive flying fist drop. Jarrett has never excelled at that maneuver. Then, the Kid retaliates with a wheel kick, but he overshoots a Swanton bomb. Jarrett attempts to attack the Kid on the ropes, but accidentally injures himself. He recovers and attempts a superplex, but the Kid defends against that and executes a flying crossbody. The Kid then tries another wheel kick, but Jarrett avoids him and targets the leg. Jarrett subsequently goes for the figure 4, but the Kid locks him in a small package for the victory. Following the match, Jarrett assaults the Kid and delivers 3 pile drivers. Jarrett pushes the officials, but they ultimately halt his assault after several fist drops. Hitman Bret Hart puts the WWF title on the line versus Intercontinental Champion Diesel in the next contest. The match begins as a brawl that Diesel triumphs in until Bret targets the leg. He takes charge of the match and places Diesel in a figure 4, but Diesel reaches the ropes. Bret even applies a spinning toe hold, but Diesel pushes him to the mat. Following this, Bret ties Diesel's legs around the post, but Shawn clotheslines Bret while the referee is distracted. Anvil pursues him at high speed until the referee intervenes, but the harm is already done. Diesel gains control after Bret fails to land a slingshot crossbody and begins to work on Bret's back. He executes a side slam and a backbreaker and even applies a bear hug. Subsequently, he performs a Canadian backbreaker while Shawn struggles to take off a turnbuckle pad. Bret tries to mount a comeback with a sleeper hold, but it proves ineffective as Diesel sends Bret barreling into the referee. Diesel then seizes the chance to finally take off the buckle pad, but Bret counters by sending him into it. Bret then enters his finishing sequence and attempts the sharpshooter a couple of times, but Shawn draws his attention away. He eventually forces Diesel outside where Diesel retaliates against Anvil. Hebner becomes distracted by this, allowing Shawn to strike Bret with the IC title. However, Bret manages to escape from the pin attempt. Diesel then executes the jackknife, but Anvil rushes into the ring and assaults Diesel, resulting in a disqualification. After the match, Anvil quickly exits. Diesel and Shawn proceed to attack Bret, while Neidhart is absent. Savage is confused about Anvil's departure. The officials come to intervene and halt the assault, yet Shawn still delivers a kick to Bret. The semifinal round of the King of the Ring tournament begins with a bout between Razor Ramon and IRS, who comes to the ring hurling insults and making accusations towards Razor. They fight on the ground, but IRS catches Razor with a knee strike. Following that, IRS tumbles out of the ring after a missed clothesline, and they engage in another brawl. Razor slams IRS into the steps, but IRS responds with an eye rake. He begins to target the leg, but he shifts to a chinlock, which is not surprising to anyone. Razor ultimately escapes and throws IRS around the ring before tugging on his tie. Savage refers to it as the renowned tie hold. Then, IRS retaliates with the right off, but he fails to make a cover. He errs by ducking for a backdrop, leading Razor to catch him in a razor's edge for the victory. And into the finals. In the other semifinal, Owen Hart takes on the still hurting 1-2-3 Kid. Owen follows the baseball slide with a suicide dive and rolls the Kid back into the ring. He then performs a flying splash, but the Kid still stays in the match. The Kid counters Owen into the corner for a chest-first bump and executes a flying crossbody. He also gets a few more near falls before both competitors exchange athletic reversals. The Kid connects with a spin kick, but Owen responds with an enziguri. After that, the Kid lands additional kicks and a Northern Lights suplex that seems to lead to a 3 count. However, Owen managed to grab the rope, and the referee noticed it. Owen takes a moment to catch his breath, allowing the Kid to perform a slingshot somersault senton as they return to the ring. Owen locks him in a German suplex and follows up with an overhead belly-to-belly, but the Kid counters with a victory roll. Then they exchange several near falls until Owen catches the Kid during a Hurricane Rana and delivers a powerbomb. Owen subsequently applies the sharpshooter to secure the victory. Yokozuna and Crush challenge the Head Shrinkers for the WWF Tag Team Championships in the next match. All 4 men get into each other's faces and begin to fight. Crush and Yoko throw the Shrinkers into one another, but it fails. They successfully send both Crush and Yoko out of the ring, allowing them to regroup. Following this, Yoko confronts Samu, who errs by attempting to slam Yoko. Nevertheless, he knocks Yoko out of the ring with a thrust kick. Afterwards, Fado and Crush face each other, and Fado shakes off a facebuster before performing a pile driver. He also executes a diving headbutt, but Fuji strikes Fado with the flag. Crush takes advantage by delivering a pile driver. It seems to be the night for that move. Yoko also executes a leg drop, which impresses Art Donovan. Crush maintains control of the match with a nerve hold and a slam, but Yoko fails to connect with a corner charge. Samu comes back and clears the ring before the Shrinkers send Crush and Yoko into one another. Fado and Yoko end up fighting on the floor, with Fado sending Yoko into the post, which inadvertently crotches Samu on the top rope. Crush retaliates with a superplex that nearly turns into a brainbuster, and then both Crush and Yoko perform leg drops. However, Lex Luger arrives to challenge Crush. He attempts to ignore Luger, but Fada surprises him with a thrust kick to secure the victory. After the competition, Crush and Luger fight on the ground. It moves into the ring, and everyone fights until Crush is thrown outside once more. Crush comes back, but he is outnumbered. Yoko drags him to safety, and they exit. The next match is the King of the Ring tournament final. Razor Ramon meets Owen Hart for the crown. Razor strikes Owen with punches while Owen persists in trying to work on his arm. Ramon then tries to catch Owen for a fallaway slam, but he ends up opting for a standard one. Then, Owen continues to slap Razor, but Razor counters a dropkick and executes a catapult. Next, they exchange mat holds until Owen surprises Ramon with a wheel kick and puts him in an abdominal stretch. He utilizes the ropes for support, but Razor ultimately delivers a hip toss and a chokeslam. Razor also performs the fallaway slam, but Owen responds with a Russian leg sweep. Owen then climbs to the top rope, but Razor intercepts him and delivers a super back suplex. Razor seeks to follow up with a Razor's Edge, but Owen backdrops him out of the ring. Then, Jim Neidhart shows up. It seems like he's going to assist Razor, but it's a bait and switch. Anvil clotheslines Razor and brings him into the ring where Owen executes a flying elbow for the victory. Owen and Neidhart assault Razor following the match before proceeding to the throne for his coronation. The final event of the night would be the grudge match between two veterans, Roddy Piper and Jerry Lawler. Lawler comes to the ring insulting everyone before Piper arrives. Piper removes his kilt and tosses it into Lawler's face before they begin fighting. This continues for a while with humorous punches and biting, which Hart enjoys. Lawler attempts to regain his bearings, but Piper pursues him and restrains Jerry so that the kid can hit him. Piper repeatedly sends Lawler to the mat, prompting Jerry to eventually attack the kid. Piper does his utmost to shield him, but this provides Lawler with the chance to gain the upper hand. Jerry throws numerous punches and puts Piper in a sleeper hold, but Piper manages to recover. He reaches for the ropes, but he feels dizzy. Nonetheless, he challenges Lawler to keep throwing punches and spits at him. At last, Piper pokes Lawler in the eyes and delivers a couple of bulldogs. He tries for another one, but Lawler pushes him into the referee. He then reaches into his tights for a foreign object and strikes Roddy. Following that, Lawler covers with his feet on the ropes, but the kid intervenes. Lawler attempts to fight back, but Piper clumsily rolls him up for the victory. Piper subsequently tosses Lawler out of the ring and celebrates with the kid. He hoists him onto his shoulder and strikes a pose for the audience while fireworks go off. As Ted DiBiase and his stable would continue to make his presence felt following the King of the Ring, Michaels would cost Diesel the Intercontinental Championship, leading to a feud between the two friends, eventually, over the WWF Championship. Razor Ramon would regain the Intercontinental title from Diesel at SummerSlam and held until the Royal Rumble, where he'd lose to Jeff Jarrett. However, Ramon would regain the title at WrestleMania 11. After his monumental win at King of the Ring, Owen Hart firmly established himself as the top contender to his brother Bret in the WWF Championship, leading to a cage match at SummerSlam. For months, wrestling fans were left in wonder, not only the whereabouts, but the fate of their beloved Undertaker. He'd return to face DiBiase's new version of The Undertaker at SummerSlam.